This is David, take one, soft six.
My name is David Shephard. I spent 12 and a half years in prison. There's a mountain of challenges. My relationship with my son, getting a job, trying to get some compensation. The way you deal with people in prison is different from the way you deal with people on the outside. You have to be standoffish and you have to keep your guard up and you can't let it down and you can't show weakness and none of that stuff. And outside is different. When you're outside, you have to deal with people in a whole different way. And so just the day-to-day relationships and getting along with people and being more kind and more flexible was a difficult transition. My mother was a good source of helping me transition from prison and my sister, who died shortly after I came home. And a lot of my mother told me she was just waiting on you. She had cancer, so her daughter is now living with me. Has been living with me since her mother passed. Well, her mother passed away, and then 6 months later, my mother passed away. So I had her daughter, my son, and I just had a baby. So I was dealing with these kids, and I have this rough exterior. And my wife was telling me, "You too rough on them. You gotta calm down. You too rough on them." And at first I was like, "Nah, they can take it. They can deal with it." And then I realized by meeting other guys that have been home and talking to them, they helped me to realize that, look, you're being too hard on them kids. I mean, you're treating them kids like they inmates. You can't treat your kids like they inmates. So I said, you know what? Yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I need to check myself. Thanks. When I first came home, I would be all the way downstairs in the basement. And if he didn't see me when he came in the house, something was wrong. Where's my father? Where's he at? Where's he at? He ran over. My wife used to tell me he used to run all over the house till he found me. And then he was straight. And this went on for about 3 or 4 months because he couldn't believe I was home. So it was important to him that I be there when he came home. So, like I said, when you're in prison, you think life stops because it stops for you. So you assume that it stops for everybody else. But people keep going and they keep growing, they keep doing other things. And, it's just like, I would look at my son and think of him being a little boy, because when I left, he was 2 years old. So now he's almost 14, and I'm like, how do I, so that was a difficult transition that I had to deal with. And then me and my wife she just stayed with me. She just stayed constantly pushing me, helping me to make the transitions that I needed to make and make the changes that I need to make. That was funny because I was doing an interview on the show on Channel 12, and Barry and Peter were doing the same interview. And at that time, the Innocence Project was in its infancy. We started talking, and they was telling me about the Innocence Project and this, that, and the other, and what I like to help them do it. And I said, yeah, of course I want to be a part of it. If I can be a part of it, of course I want to be a part of it. Anything they asked me to do, basically, I was willing to do, because my thing was, if this is going to help someone else get out, then I'm all for it. The state doesn't provide much, if anything, for you. And so I was lucky in that respect because I had a family. And my family stood by me all the years I was away, and when I came home, they stood by me. So they were my strength. Where these other guys, they didn't have that. A lot of them, one guy came home and there wasn't even no lights in his house when he came home. So the Innocence Project had to play to get the lights back on in the house and the water turned back on in the house. I listened to their stories, and made me, what I was going through, made it look like this is smaller than what they're going through. So that helped me a lot too. I'm like, look, I can deal with this. If they can deal with all that they're dealing with, I'm sure I can deal with what I'm dealing with. The Innocence Project has been great for me and great for other guys. You know, it's just that it's a shame that these guys get out and there's nothing here for them once they get home. It's crazy. Well, you just look at it this way. I'm a grown man, I don't have a job. I have no way to support myself or my family. I have limited skills, limited abilities. I've been incarcerated for the last 12 years. I have no experience in anything except for what I was doing before I went away to prison. And so I was like, I'm out here. I'm just, all right. Because when I got released, they gave me, what did they give me? They gave me $100 on a bus ticket. I said, all right. Well, I didn't really get the $100 because I wasn't able, I was supposed to get $100, but I was entitled to $100 because I was wrongly convicted, so which meant that I didn't even get the $100. So I wasn't even entitled to that. And a lot of programs that people that get out of prisons that are entitled to, I wasn't entitled to because I wasn't supposed to be there in the first place, so it made me ineligible for help from the parole, from all. I didn't have all that. The concept of it is to help guys when they return from home, when they return home. Help them find a job, help them get medical care if they need it, help them get clothes or somewhere where they can go for training. Because like I said, a lot of guys get out 12, 15, 20 years, and they have no skills. So they have to learn something, they have to go somewhere. So we try to find out, we wanna talk to them and find out what they wanna do with the rest of their life. Okay, this is the start of your life. You're starting your life over. What is it that you wanna do? Okay, in my own words, what led to it was the fact that my alibi was my family, and that wasn't good enough. The victim first identified me in a voice print, supposedly. That's how she identified me. I was at work, and according to them, they had set up, because they had found a car at the airport where I worked at. And she had mentioned that one of the guys that that assaulted her was named Dave. My name is Dave. So this led them to pick me as one of the perpetrators of the crime. I went upstairs to pick up my check, and according to them, she was in the back. And when she heard me talking to the guy that was giving out the checks, she got physically disturbed. She got started sweating, and said, that was him, that's him. This is Christmas Eve, man. No, New Year's Eve. We were going to pick up our checks. And she said that, by my voice, that I was one of the guys that had assaulted her. When they got me from the airport, they told me that they wanted to question me about a stolen car. I know I ain't stealing a car, so what I have to be concerned about? Bad choice. And then even when they were questioning me, I should have had a lawyer who should have been present, but me thinking that, knowing that I had done nothing wrong, what do you want to question me about? Whatever you want to question me about, I'm willing to. So they questioned me for like 10 hours. I spent close to now a year and a half in the county jail before I was there 9 months before I even went to trial. I was there 5 months before my lawyer was assigned to my case. So I was eventually convicted. The trial lasted for 7 days, and I was eventually convicted. It blew me away. I just remember my mother screaming in the courtroom because nobody could believe that I would be convicted. I tell you the truth, honestly, I kind of sat through this trial, but I wasn't an active participant in it because to me, I couldn't even believe I was here. It was like I'm looking at a movie. Like, this is crazy. What am I doing here? What did I do? I didn't do anything. And in the middle of the trial, the judge stopped the trial and said to said to my lawyer, I want you to take the guy in the back and I want you to read the charges to him. I want you to tell him how much time he's facing, and then we come back and let's deal with this, because they had offered me 5 years. And she started reading off the charge: 30 years for this, 10 years for this, 10 years for this, 20 years for the robbery, 5 years for the gun. It came out to, I think when she finished, we had something like 120 years. And so she said to me, she said, well, you know, we can take this deal. I said, how can I say something I know I didn't do? What am I gonna say? The judge did the same. He asked me again. He said, listen, did she read the charges to you, tell you how much time you're facing? I said, yeah. I said, Your Honor, I didn't do anything wrong. So no, I'm not taking any deals because I did nothing wrong. In the back of my mind, I knew at that point it was over. I think I grew up in prison a lot because I had no idea how awful it was. You know, you look at TV and you see TV and it makes it, but it's when the lights go out and it's just you in that cell, or that phone call, or hanging that phone up. I don't know the next time I might be able to talk to them, or the next time I might be able to see them, or will it be a next time I'll be able to talk to them or see them, knowing what they were going through on the outside, worrying about me. So I think that was the most difficult thing, just being without my family, being away from them for so long. I knew, without a shadow of doubt, once we do this DNA test, I'm going home. I knew it. I was not even kidding. I was telling people, look, let them come, they come in and do this DNA test, I'm out of here. And the judge granted the DNA test. That's when things started really rolling. And I went to court. The judge said, he didn't even apologize. He said, this is why we have scientific evidence, when he released me. And that's how I was released. I had a cheesecake and some White Castle. That's what I wanted. Told my mother I wanted a cheesecake, so that's what I had. Oh, and a Frosty. I'd never had a Frosty before. I wanted to know what it was. I seen it on television. I just had to have one, so that's what I had. That was my first movie.